Oh, man. Can't believe how fucking windy it is. It's crazy.
It's so stupid. It's fucking Panhandle, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do not disturb. Did you see that video?
Which one?
The what do you call it? The one that I added to it that I sent you on the message.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. Some kind of similar to the other ones.
Yeah.
I thought about wearing shades.
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Look at me, I'm cool. I'm cool as a cucumber.
I'm drinking cyanide, according to this doctor.
Yeah.
But it's tasty.
All right, I'll take the shades off.
It is good.
Yeah, those are not bad. I used to get those all the time. Like I used
That
to.
explains a lot.
I had a subscription through Amazon where they'd ship them to me every 2 weeks.
What was your flavor of choice?
It was the watermelon one.
I think I got the kiwi guava.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one's pretty good. Yeah, I think the watermelon one was my favorite one.
If it wasn't for the cyanide.
Yeah. Well, let's get this going. Oh yeah, let me open that up for you. All right. Well, welcome back to A to Z with J and B.
What's up, everybody?
So we're back, brand new episode. I'm excited for this episode.
It could be our last one.
It could. So it's there's a lot of theories going around right now. We have the solar eclipse coming up on Monday, total solar eclipse, and there is a lot being theorized about what's going on.
Yeah, it's a ton, going from science all the way down to
Religion, like it.
There's some coincidences, things that have already happened.
Yeah. So my whole feed is funny. My feed it changes. Like it goes through kind of phases where like right now it's all about the solar eclipse and all these conspiracy theories. So I've been going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. Like last night I was up till like 4 a.m. just like watching videos and stuff.
Oh, excuse me. Yep.
So it's very, very topical kind of topic. So this whole episode we're gonna be diving into a lot of these conspiracy theories.
It's a fun one.
I do want to preface that what we're going to be sharing is people's opinions. Don't take it as fact. Do your own research. We're not necessarily believing or not believing in what these people are going to be saying. But just take everything with a grain of salt. This is all, like I said, theory. So just take it for what it is, do with it what you will, form your own opinion. Just like we've said this before. We're not stating fact. Well, I mean, we might be stating facts, but just take it for at surface level. Don't.
Some of the things that have happened, but as far as why it happened, we don't really know.
Yeah, this is all theory.
Yeah.
Theory. All right. Some conspiracy behind it as well.
and it's fun to talk about that. It's entertaining and it's
and that's why I want to do it. This is just like purely entertainment purposes. We're not fear mongering. We're not, this. Believe what you want to believe. Yeah. Okay. I feel like everyone should do that, like regardless. But yeah. So here we go.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers to the end of the world.
Cheers to the end of the world. Hopefully not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Probably not.
More than likely not. 99%. sure, it's nothing's going to happen. But,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
it's
it could
1%.
be, the whole Y2K thing again.
Oh, yeah.
Like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Did y'all get extra water?
Yeah, I remember I was living at my dad's at the time, and we lived out on a farm, and we had, those big kind of plastic barrels. Think of the plastic barrel that Walter White dissolves the body in.
Yep.
So we had like
Y'all had
five
some
of
of
those. 5 of those full of water.
Oh, snap.
And then eventually we just gave it to the cows because we didn't need it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had like my dad, we got like extra 5-gallon jugs of water. We got the battery powered radio just in case something happened. Basically all the tornado stuff. And I mean, it was kind of exciting and scary
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
What's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, and that's interesting. 'Cause we touched on this in like kind of the past couple episodes that these local governments and stuff are sending these letters out to people telling them make sure your gas tank is full, stock up on water, non-perishables, and for the eclipse.
Yeah.
And like they're calling the National Guard down, and it's like for the eclipse.
Yeah.
It's like I get like maybe there's gonna be an influx of people to these towns. But why are we needing to prepare for almost kind of a catastrophe?
Yeah, I went on to because of that. I went on to I think it was one of maybe the Dallas Morning News just to see what that local news is telling their residents, because I mean Dallas is going to be right in there, and there's going to be a lot of people. I mean, there's already a lot of people there as it is.
Yeah,
more people. Probably over this weekend for sure. Monday, Tuesday. And what I got from that was all they're saying is we're ramping up police because there's going to be extra traffic, because there's probably going to be, probably some idiots, causing trouble or whatever. But it wasn't. I'm thinking that if there is something bigger and a little more scary behind, and maybe they know about it. I don't know, but they're not sharing that information. All they're doing is just because grocery stores, restaurants are going to be a lot more full. It's going to be harder to get into places like that. And it could be just because of that. More people, less opportunity to go into a store, less opportunity to go to a restaurant. So just have some extra stuff on hand because you probably won't be able to do the normal stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's that. But yeah, if it's for a more crazier reason, it makes sense. Maybe they don't want to alarm people.
Yeah, but the crazier thing to me is I saw something about they're having like scientists who specialize in like radiation present.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I heard. Is that something with the FBI was talking to? I heard one story where like FBI has been going to hospitals to make sure that they have their, like I don't know if it was for like. It was biological. Like they want to make sure that kind of like the same thing they did with the coronavirus. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get kicked off anything. But kind of the way they want to just make sure that they have their stuff prepped in case something biological happens.
Yeah.
And it's weird that officials are talking to hospitals about that, making sure they're ready right before that. It is weird.
All right. So we have some links of some of the stuff that we've been watching kind of on this topic. I'm about to pull them up. But again, I want to preface, like, these are not our opinions. These are opinions of these people. And we're not saying they're facts, but just we're just doing this for an entertainment kind of dive in. So take it for surface level with a grain of salt, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so let's get into this.
You want to do just the first one on there?
Let's see here. Okay, so here we have a TikTok video from Sunday Cool Tea, which is a podcast, which I've been watching a lot of their clips. I like their podcast. They go into a lot of like
I've seen some of theirs,
kind of like conspiracy theories and kind of stuff like that. So it's a really cool kind of watch. So this is about a minute long. So we're gonna just kind of play this through, and then we're gonna kind of discuss it afterwards. Let me make sure this is up. All right. Let me do this, full screen it. And here we go.
Have you guys seen Doomsday Map? They came out with a map that looks like this.
Oh, wow.
This is America. They do like the whole world, but this shot is of America. This lady, her name is Peggy Bolton. She did some really fun research regarding the Doomsday Map. She compared with what this map looked like. She compared that to the land that Bill Gates has been buying. All
Shut
the
up.
farmland.
Shut up.
Because he is the majority farmland owner in the United States right now. She took the map of the farmland that he owns and overlaid it onto this Doomsday Map. Every single dry land piece was occupied by his farmland, including in California. So California is basically completely underwater, but there's these little pockets of islands. That little one right there, that's one of his farmland. She like that compared to like Zuckerberg, because on this Doomsday Map, Hawaii is completely fine. And she talked about how Jeff Bezos is also buying up farmland around the US. That all correlates with like these high points in America. It's super creepy.
So we need to get a boat.
According to this map, we're good. We're gonna almost have beachfront property, baby.
Dude, Bezos and Zuckerberg, they look like aliens. They don't look like they're from here.
Yeah, so that in and of itself, Bill Gates buying all this land that just happens to be at like high points to when you look at that doomsday map. Let me see if I can get a kind of a screenshot here. Okay. So this map, this doomsday map, was put together like 20 years ago by scientists on what the future of the United States is going to look like after, you know, earthquakes have kind of changed the face of the continent. So you can see here this huge new river between Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri. And what's crazy about this is they show we're going to show another video that kind of goes more in depth in this. But if you look at the path of the
Path of totality.
Path of totality of the total eclipse coming up on Monday, it's this same exact path.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what do these rich people know that this is happening?
Yeah.
And is that why Bill Gates is buying up everything around the water over here and then also building bunkers? So it's like, okay. So like this is one of the first videos that I saw, and it kind of got me interested. It got the gears turning. So that's where it's when I first saw the rabbit hole, and I was like, all right, I'm diving in.
Golly, can you imagine like that being the new United States?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Like there's so much. I mean, Texas, we're fine.
Yeah.
Besides the coast, I mean, we lose a little bit of the coast.
Houston.
Yeah. But I mean, everything else, we're money right in here.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so that one piqued my interest, so I started diving in. Let's go on to the next one here. So this one's
pretty crazy.
This one's crazy. This one, he goes into a lot of detail on like certain things. I'll let him explain it.
Dude has some cool eyes.
Yeah. And this is Detta910 on TikTok. So yeah, feel free to show them some love.
Good watch.
If you want to. Go check them out. I'll be posting all the links of what we're showing in the description. So if you want to check those out. All right. Here we go.
So NASA said there's going to be an ellipse during the eclipse. An ellipse can only work.
Which that right there. I don't know if you saw the video of the guy from NASA doing the press conference.
I didn't see that one.
He does say specifically ellipse and not eclipse. Now I'm a little skeptical that it wasn't.
Maybe he mispronounced.
Yeah, like a mispronounce. But there is a weird, like he says it, and there's like a weird pause, like almost a purposeful pause.
Like, hey, I said this shit, so that it's out there.
Yeah,
I'm covering my ass.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of theories of like, why did he say ellipse? Like he clearly said ellipse.
We need to find that and see if we can
Yeah, I'll find it in a minute.
Right,
But yeah,
let's
let's
check
keep
this guy out.
With a domed top. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna need you to Google it. But an ellipse is focusing frequency off of one part of the dome very lightly, as if I was here standing beside you and I whispered to you, but we were in this domed area. Whenever I whisper, whoever was all the way on the other side would hear it as if I was standing beside them. And this is called foci. These are the focal points of the ellipse. Now, when you focus frequency like that, it becomes a lithotripter. And a lithotripter, for those of you that have had kidney stones, is used to break down stone, which works as an ellipse. It focuses from one point to another focal point, and they work together to break stones. And I need you all to remember that the Schumann resonance of Mother Earth has changed, which means we were about to start vibrating higher. They're getting ready to drop the frequency so much and adjust it so much to where I believe we are about to see the worst earthquake in the history of humankind. And I didn't say this. NASA said they will be focusing an ellipse along the path of totality. But I need you to see something. If you follow me, you should be familiar with this map. But if you can see, this new river that's carved through the New Madrid fault line is along the exact same path of totality. All right? And NASA said that they were going to use an ellipse to focus along the path of totality. I did not say that. And if you learn about an ellipse, like I just said, it is like a lithotripter. They use lithotripsy to break stone. Imagine how much stone they can break with the frequency of CERN being used as an ellipse off the dome. And once again, I didn't say this, they did. They are firing up the CERN particle collider, all right? HARP. Any of this stuff, that if y'all don't know this, you got a lot of research to do. You can call this fear-mongering. But I have been placing dots and connecting dots for the last few years. And after I heard him clearly say ellipse, and I understand what an ellipse is and how it works, get the fuck away from the path of totality, people. For those of you that do not lose or meet your demise from the earthquakes that will soon follow, I'm not sure if it's going to be instant or if it will be the days to come or maybe even a month later. But I will make you a promise. I will make you a promise that the United States will see the worst earthquake in the history of mankind this year. I'm going to let you know. Listen. And for those of you that follow me, you know that usually when I say it, you come back and say, you were right. So, get away. Do not go outside in this eclipse. Do not look up at this eclipse. I cannot believe that the world governments are about to do to the people what they're about to do to the people. Stay frosty, people. Locked and loaded. Ready to explode it.
Okay, just real quick, that is crazy, but I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if we could use AI to change that that whole presentation and use Samuel L. Jackson's voice and the way he looked on Pulp Fiction to deliver that presentation?
Yeah.
Dude. People, get the fuck out of here. Or however he talks, like, that would be so good.
Get the fuck out of the path
Of totality.
You can have a taste my beer. That sketch from the Chappelle Show is hilarious. But yeah, that's crazy because like I saw something of the last time there were two eclipses that kind of intersected. Kind of like what we're having now. Back in 2017, we had it was a lunar eclipse, I believe, that kind of went the other direction of this eclipse, and so now there's like an X essentially of the paths of the two eclipses. So back in like 1811, this happened as well, like 1811 and like 1815 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they were like kind of 4 years apart, just like this one is. Or I mean, 7 years apart. 7 years. Yeah, 7. So they were saying back in 1811, after that happened, it was the like a few months, a month, 2 months, 3 months after that was the worst earthquake that had the Americas had ever seen, and
Yeah.
it kind of shaped how America is shaped now.
Yeah.
So that's where these conspiracy theories are kind of tying that into, is like you always hear everything always happens in patterns. Everything repeats itself. History repeats itself. So they're saying this is just history repeating itself. And we're about to get a new face of the continent.
Yeah.
And like that doomsday map is what they're saying is going to be the new face of the continent.
Yeah, and you were saying also, you've heard that there's been a ton of earthquakes just recently.
Yeah. There's
together.
I think there's another video in here that I have that kind of talks about it. But yeah, it's super interesting to think that, like, you know, because people say history repeats itself, if we just look at the past, it's like we can read a book of the future by looking at the past.
Yeah, but it's weird though that CERN, that's that
Motion detected at front door.
all right. Okay.
They're coming for us. We're on to them.
Yeah. But CERN is that fast particle collider, isn't it? Or
Yeah, it's a large hadron collider, which is essentially trying to recreate the conditions about a millisecond after the Big Bang.
Yeah.
So they're essentially trying to create dark matter.
And why are they doing that of all days? On Monday?
That's another interesting thing, is like they are powering it up on April 8th, on Monday. But along with that, NASA's also firing three rockets into the shadow of the moon. And it's like, what? Why?
And why are they named what they're named?
APEP, which is the snake deity, Egyptian snake deity, who is the kind of opposer of Ra, and he's kind of the deity of destruction.
Yeah.
But also along those lines, in front of CERN is a statue of Shiva, the goddess of destruction in Hinduism. So it's just like all these dots. Like I feel like Charlie in the Always Sunny episode when he's in the mailroom. Carol.
Yeah. He has like all these webs.
Yeah. So you all these dots. Like in my mind, it's just like, oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's there's a lot of things, and like there was even a video I saw of in front of CERN, in front of this the Shiva statue. It was this video. I don't know if it was fake or not, but it was this video of a human sacrifice.
Well,
and they came out and said, "Oh, it was just the scientists playing a joke."
oh,
It's just like, what?
yeah,
Who jokes about that?
yeah.
But why would NASA name this mission, or whatever you want to call it, APEP, after the snake deity of destruction who swallows the sun?
Yeah, that is. It's too. It's almost like they don't give a fuck anymore. Like, we're just gonna say it. We're just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
If they can figure it out, they can. I don't care.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing. But yeah, in one of the videos too, I want to say, like, it might be the fourth or the fifth one that we have, but they do talk about, like, it goes into the religion stuff, but like for over 2,000 years, like it's been planning, or someone's been planning it, or a group's been planning it. I guess it's this guy.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at this one.
Yeah.
This video is for you if you want to understand why religious people feel a certain way about the upcoming solar eclipse. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm just going to get right into it. Now, people on both sides of religion, the ones who worship good and the ones who worship evil, pay attention to the moon here because they understand that those are signs. Now, the people that most consider worship evil, they tend to lean toward this one right here. But this one, the solar eclipse, doesn't happen very often. The last one here was in 2017, but the one before that was in 1979. So the fact that we're getting them more and more frequently is standing out to a lot of religious people. Time to get into the meat and potatoes. Those religious people went to the book of Revelation because they and a lot of others, even non-religious people, feel like it could be the end of the world. Here's what they noticed, and it gets more interesting the further into it you get. These are the last 3 paths of totality for the last 3 solar eclipses that were in the US. This one right here is the one we're about to get. God says in the book of Revelations, I am the Aleph and the Taf, which are the first and the last letters of the Hebrew alphabet. The beginning and the end, the first and the last. Now with that in mind, if you look at the map here, you can see the Aleph and the Tav. So is this God? Is this a sign from God? And that's still not it. Here's another passage talking about God's return. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not provide its light. Sounds a little bit like a solar eclipse, right? Back to it. The stars will fall from the skies and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Well, NASA posted that this is going to be one of the only eclipses that we could see a large eruption of solar material. Falling stars. Another thing to consider here is that in the Bible, God said it would be about 2,000 years before his return. We are currently in the year 2024. Now, a lot of people in today's generation, that's not enough. They need more. Well, God actually spoke on that too. He answered and said to them, an evil and adulterous generation, which sounds way too much like us, craves for a sign, and yet no sign will be given to it but the sign of Jonah the prophet. So who's Jonah the prophet? What's his story? Well, Jonah was tasked by God to go to a city called Nineveh, where he was going to preach the word to the people of that city and save them. Jonah did not want to do that. Jonah decided to go west and run. He went through his tribulation and then still ended up in the city of Nineveh. What's unique about that is the solar eclipse we're about to get passes over 8 cities called Nineveh. If you draw a line through all of those cities, you can tell that it passes right under Michigan, the same exact way the solar eclipse we're about to get does. This is how the Bible explains God's second coming. Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Pay attention specifically to the he is coming with the clouds, because we are expecting a historical chance of cloud coverage during the eclipse. Those are not the only things. There's plenty of other things referencing the end times that are currently happening, and I'll bullet point them for you. What's extremely specific is that God says the Euphrates River will dry up in the end times. And I hate to say it, but the Euphrates River just recently dried up, guys. He said we were going to get hit by pandemics, and well, has anyone heard of COVID? The Bible also says that in the end days, the Jews will build a third temple and sacrifice a red cow, which will then usher in the Antichrist, who they think is the Messiah.
The diddler.
Well, they just announced the construction of a third temple, and Texas is sending them red cows to sacrifice. I personally believe that there's way too many coincidences regarding this solar eclipse to not feel a certain way about it. Regardless, I hope you guys got something from this video and can now understand where more religious people are coming from.
What do red cows taste like?
Yeah, I saw that Sunday Cool Tea, they did an episode about the red heifer as well. Well, actually, they talked about another podcast that did an episode about it, where, you know, in Judaism, they believe that a kind of immaculate, a flawless red heifer is the Messiah. And so they've been looking for it for years upon years upon years.
The Messiah or a sign of the Messiah to come?
Yeah, a sign of the Messiah.
Okay.
So, yeah, they have to sacrifice a perfect red heifer to usher in the Messiah coming.
Yeah, second coming.
Yeah.
Funny thing, South Park did an episode on that with Carmen. And a fat kid would dress him up with as a ginger cow or something like that. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, but to kind of play devil's advocate to what he's saying, there are some conspiracy theorists saying that it's not God's second coming; it's the Anunnaki.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that too.
Yeah, because according to them, the Anunnaki is who created us, and there are lords, essentially. And they're upset with how we've been treating the world.
Yeah.
And so they're coming back.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense if it's true.
Yeah, it's I don't know. This is all just super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like I can't say that I believe in it fully 100%. Like there are things I want to believe in, but you know, I'm skeptical in a lot of things.
Yeah, everything he's pointing out, it's like what he said. There's too many coincidences to not at least say, hey, you know what? Maybe there is something to this.
Yeah.
Now, is it
Yeah.
because of what he's referencing? I don't know, but I do think that it is something. You know?
Yeah, but there are also, you know, theories that swarms of locusts are going to
Yeah.
be coming out of the fault line. You know, which is like a biblical kind of
it's
omen.
seven signs, or what is it? The seven horns. That's one of the what do they call it?
Was it like the tribulations or I can't think of the word.
It's one of the rounds that we get that are bad.
Yeah. Okay, so let's watch this one that you sent me.
Yeah, it's along the same lines.
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of pepper, folks. It's InfoWars.
The solar eclipse on April 8th is becoming a major event. The National Guard is being deployed, and the people are being advised to have 2 weeks of food and to fill their fuel tanks. This could all be explained due to the fact that tens of thousands of visitors are expected along the path of totality.
Which makes
Many
sense.
people
Yeah.
believe that they could be preparing for possible earthquakes due to the Devil Comet aligning with the April 8th eclipse, and due to the fact that in 1811, a comet also appeared in the skies during a solar eclipse on the same path and was followed by the biggest earthquakes in American history. Known as the New Madrid earthquakes, around 10,000 earthquakes occurred in just 3 months' time.
That is
The
crazy.
biggest being measured at 8.8 magnitude. They were the most devastating series of earthquakes in recorded history. But it was a different comet, and while some claim that a solar eclipse can trigger earthquakes, this scenario seems unlikely. This eclipse season is, however, a very rare event. The recent eclipses in August of 2017 and October of 2023, along with the upcoming one on April 8th, forms an Aleph and a Tav over the United States. The Aleph and Tav are the first and last letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. These eclipses mark the end of the great year, a 26,000-year period that starts anew with the dawning of Aquarius and a new golden age. Manly P. Hall wrote that high-level Masons designed America for a peculiar and particular purpose, a secret destiny to bring about a new Atlantis, or a new world order, wherein a king descended of a divine race will rule over all. In rituals, this king is symbolized as Apollo, Horus, or Nimrod, the father of Freemasonry, and is thought to be a descendant of the biblical Nephilim, or the Sumerian Anunnaki. According to Thomas Horn, this will happen in 2025, which corresponds to several documents published by intelligence agencies, such as Global Governance 2025, Global Trends 2025, and the 2025 Deagle Forecast on World Population. NASA is notorious for performing Masonic rituals based on the Egyptian mystery schools, Apollo being the same character as Horus, Sirius representing Isis, and Atlantis being the new golden age they hope to restore. And during the eclipse on April 8th, NASA will fire 3 rockets named after Apep, the Egyptian serpent god, whose goal was to devour Ra, the sun. And when the sun reemerges after 3 minutes of darkness, it will be likened to the rebirth of Horus, their new king of the Golden Age. CERN, known for practicing occult rituals at a statue of Shiva, the
That's
Hindu
crazy,
god
man.
who symbolizes death, destruction, and the end of an age, will be firing up their Large Hadron Collider to full power during the solar eclipse. And Israel, who is in the midst of committing genocide, is preparing to sacrifice a red heifer, a ritual sacrifice to prepare them for taking back the Temple Mount.
Red heifers, to be precise. Some Jews and Christians believe they're the key to rebuilding the historic Jewish temple in Jerusalem and to beckoning the Messiah. To understand, you have to go back nearly 2,000 years when the ancient Romans destroyed the last temple in the city. To rebuild it, these believers point to the Bible's book of Numbers. It commands the Israelites to sacrifice a red heifer without defect or blemish, and that has never been under a yoke. Only then can the temple rise again. Those sacred cows were showcased in Washington at a recent prayer gathering. Many evangelicals believe these red heifers will usher Christ's second coming.
We need the Messiah to come, right? So for me, the red heifer is red for the blood of Jesus Christ.
A massive altar already awaits, where the heifers are to be burned. According to some believers, the ceremony needs to be performed right here on the Mount of Olives, looking directly into where the temple once stood. But something else now stands in its place.
Once they forcibly take the Temple Mount away from billions of Muslims worldwide, it will predictably thrust the world into the peak of chaos that these secret societies have been designing for centuries. And their plan is to bring order out of this chaos, with their divine king to rule over the world. But these are just rituals, and fear is an illusion. We can always choose love. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Crazy. You know what's even crazier is like if you heard or you saw a trailer to a movie of all this stuff that has happened, would you go watch it? It'd be interesting to watch. It's almost it keeps bringing me back to like if it is a simulation, like what if they're just doing all this because it's entertaining and they just want to see all this happen?
Well, it's funny that you say that. I want to show one video before I show this next one. But this video is essentially, so this guy, actually let's watch one more kind of along these same lines, and then I'll show kind of a contradicting video. Because like I said, we're not taking all of these videos as fact.
No.
But we do want, I wanted to kind of provide ideas from kind of both sides of the line.
Yeah, because I mean, some people tell stories and you're like,
Yeah,
shut
yeah,
the
yeah.
hell up. But it's good to, hey, well, maybe
It's not just a
Good
normal
info.
solar eclipse, and even if it was, that would be bad news enough. Upon further investigation, I have far more confidence in the things that I have already said. Let me show you what I have found. 7.4 earthquake and several aftershocks hit Taiwan yesterday.
Yeah.
8 days after a total lunar eclipse hit the Pacific plate and the North American plate at the same time. For reference, the lunar eclipse covered this area right here over top of the divide between the Pacific and North American plates. The earthquake was over here in Taiwan, on the other side of the Pacific plate. Correlation does not equal causation. The title of this paper, published in 2019, The Combined Effects of the Gravitational Forces on the Tectonic Plates on Earth's Surface Exerted by the Moon, the Sun, and the Other Planets, are one of the main reasons of the earthquakes. This article, published in 2023, the moon's pull is so strong it may trigger earthquakes on Earth. Scientists are still baffled by its power. This article, published in 2016, moon's pull can trigger big earthquakes. Big earthquakes, such as the ones that devastated Chile in 2010 and Japan in 2011, are more likely to occur during full and new moons, the 2 times each month when tidal stresses are highest. There's no shortage. The sun and moon are linked to earthquakes along the San Andreas Fault from 2016. Let me nerd out a little bit. Hold on. A total solar eclipse requires a new moon, and when they are lined up, so is their gravitational pull on the Earth's surface. A total lunar eclipse requires a full moon, and the sun and the moon are pulling against each other. Now, hold on a minute. That full moon, full lunar eclipse that we just had covers the same exact area as that total solar eclipse we're about to have on April 8th. And the moon has already caused an earthquake. This is the annular ring of fire eclipse we had last year. During an annular eclipse, you get a ring of fire because the moon is too small to totally cover the sun. This is the total eclipse we had in 2017. This is the total eclipse we're about to have on April 8th. Now, back on the 20th of March, I said, so that the new moon of a solar eclipse is like a barge passing under a bridge and hitting one of the supports. Now, I said there might be 2,000 cars pass over that bridge before it collapses. But 6 days later, we saw that if a cargo ship hits a bridge support, it might collapse immediately. But then a few days later, a barge hit a bridge support, and we see that it only damaged it. Yes, I understand. It was very strange that I said that, and then days later it happened twice. What can I say? Listen and watch. Once again, I say, I cannot predict that the April 8th solar eclipse will cause the New Madrid fault zone to pop off, or that it'll pop off so hard that that hidden fault line will become apparent, or that the Pacific plate will slip under the North American plate, causing the topography to fall, because those two plates colliding is what caused the mountain ranges to form there to begin with, and when it slips under, it'll release that tension. It's that easy. Y'all think the topography is fixed? How do you think it got that way? I cannot say that this is going to happen anytime soon after April 8th, only that it absolutely looks inevitable at some point in the future. I mean, just look at this map real quick, though. Then look at that for a moment. And now look at this map of past eclipses and the paths that they make on the face of the Earth constantly. And now let's put them on a flat Earth map just to see that that is the start of a geometric pattern like unto, I want to be clear, a geometric pattern of gravitational and magnetic paths that the sun and moon take above the face of the Earth. Such as this one that the Earth and Venus make in 8 complete orbits. And hold on one second, it doesn't matter if the Earth is orbiting the sun or the sun is orbiting the Earth, this is the pattern. And this is what that's going to look like here. And I'm sorry, flat earthers, there is no flat Earth animation that I can find of this right here, but it doesn't matter anyway. If you look underneath the animation, you see the Earth and Venus in 8 orbits. You see Mars and Venus in 7 orbits beside it. And to the right of that is Saturn and Jupiter in 7 orbits. Underneath, that's Uranus and Saturn in 7 orbits. You can see these patterns that are made here. This is sacred geometry, but it's much more than that. Now, these intricate dances that the celestial bodies and the Earth and the sun and the moon all participate in with the stars are not just patterns of movement. They are patterns of movement involving forces like gravity and magnetism, or whatever you prefer to call them. I don't care at this point. These are all just labels we put in our own little understandings of stuff and how it works. Is relativity wrong, chock full of errors? Yeah, of course it is. Einstein was a dirt monkey. His brain was made of dirt. But we do the best we can here with what we have to work with. But science says the forces of the planets and the sun and the moon affect the Earth. We know that the stars do also. Muons and neutrinos, I mean, from the stars, bombarding the Earth by the billions and billions and billions every moment of every day, all the time. Don't be surprised if Mario jumps a level. Neutrino hit the switches and turned a 1 to a 0, and he just jumped level in an apparent glitch. It's recorded. Go look it up. It is no coincidence that our technology is based on this 369 as told by Nikola Tesla. This sacred geometry can be seen on every level because it is intricate to how the universe itself functions on every level. Forces and gravity and magnetism and such, if you need it mundane. It's not mundane. These are celestial heavenly bodies. The Bible says the sun rules over the day and the moon and the stars rule over the night and divide the light from the darkness, and that means more than you think it does. And it really does show on every level. Look at how that one resembles that solar eclipse map we were just getting started on. The only reason this is not a complete and super impressive geometric pattern right here is because it's too small of a span of time in the recordings. You put enough time and recordings in here and it's a full thing. The sun and the moon, the lunar and the solar eclipses would make a pattern just like this if they were fully recorded. It's just that their pattern traces out over a much longer period of time. This one's just not done yet. It really is just Russian nesting dolls on every level. These patterns, this sacred geometry, this is how reality itself functions everywhere, all the time. It looks like a chaotic mess on this map because this is a globe map that's been flattened out, not to actually represent how it really looks. You can't get a real good look at how this would actually play out in a pattern on a flat version of a globe map. But just imagine that these are like pin strokes of somebody contouring the Earth with all of these movements, shaping the face of the Earth. That's what the sun and the moon are doing here, shaping the face of the Earth, literally what's causing the movement in the tectonic plates to begin with. Causing the tides, causing the weather systems. And it's not even a mystery, and it's not hard to see at all. They have to know this. Somebody has to know about this all. It's not remotely far-fetched. The ancient mystery schools knew all about this. This is how it lines up with Orion's belt, and if we just turn the clock back until this star is dead center in this pyramid, we can tell you exactly when they were built. Among many things, the pyramids are also a timestamp. We have the star charts, just dial them back. Now, we are absolutely, and without a doubt, there is no argument against it, talking about forces and frequencies. And if you zoom into those, you find more forces and frequencies. From classical physics to the quantum physics, it's all forces and frequencies. Reality itself being a projection on every level of, can you guess, forces and frequencies? The idea that ancient sacred sites are built on places of power or energized sites, giving rise to the idea of ley lines, as if there is some sort of grid of power, and that the ancient sacred sites are laid on this grid, or these energized sites. The idea of which is more than plausible, seems rather likely, considering that the Large Hadron Collider at CERN is located in the same place as an ancient temple of Apollos, the seat of Satan, as the Bible calls it. Makes more sense now why they have a Lord Shiva idol out front. Destruction, rebirth, and cycles. And this, boys and girls, is ancient mystery school occultism realized in the modern world. This is the religion of the pre-flood world. Opening portals and such, yeah, they're trying to call the angels down from heaven again. Literally. But they're still learning how. They're primitive in their efforts. You can see how it has progressed through the years, and this one is the future plan. They want to figure out what really makes reality tick, you know? Because the fellas funding all this are always so benevolent with their findings, like nuclear bombs. Needed those, right? Are they doing the devil's work? Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be supernatural. The things that they're going to make with their own hands are going to be evil enough. Anyway, they're firing this thing up on April 8th, the same day as the solar eclipse, for a reason. And I mean, it's an occult ritual. That's why they always have those occult rituals right before they fire it up and such. This is ancient mystery school technology. Now, we're talking about the United States of America because these 3 solar eclipses happened right here. Now take a look at this recent earthquakes map. Now look at this recent earthquakes map, knowing that the sun and the moon are doing this. I cannot say when the Pacific plate is going to slip under the North American plate and flatten out topography. I cannot say when the North American plate is going to split in half. I can say without a doubt something just like this is what will cause it, though. I can't say how many cycles it'll take. I can only say this looks like the inevitable outcome to me, according to the science. And I know the earthquake in Taiwan was caused by that full moon total lunar eclipse. We'll see.
Dude. It still blows my mind on like why they're doing it tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Monday.
Monday. Yeah.
That whole video that we saw a little still from where they're doing that ritual or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For them to say that it's a joke.
Yeah.
You don't joke like that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, that's...
it's super interesting. I will say to conspiracy theories themselves, if you look long and hard enough, you're going to find some kind of connection. Yeah. Like I saw a video about something that I want to go on into in just a second. Someone was trying to compare the ship that crashed into the bridge in Baltimore was headed to Sri Lanka. Their connecting dot was so there's this movie Leave the World Behind. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where a ship loses power and just barrels onto a beach with people on it and everything. Very similar to, the Baltimore cargo ship losing power, barreling into the bridge. So there was a parallel there. But in the movie, the name of the ship is White Lion. The Sri Lankan flag has a lion on it. Oh. So they were like, oh my God. It's like, okay, that's a coincidence. Yeah. That's like clean cut coincidence. So like there are a lot of these conspiracy theories that people are wanting to connect dots. So I heard something like a little while ago is like, you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's like if your mind is set to something, you're going to find it no matter what.
Find what you're looking for. You see what
What
you're
you wanna
looking for.
see.
Yeah, what you
Yeah.
want to see. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can connect dots that aren't there,
Yeah.
or it could all be connected. Everything.
All right. So now I want to play this video. This guy, he's kind of contradicting all of these videos that we've just seen. Kind of what you can see the title, what's really going on with the eclipse.
Aliens.
So the April 8th eclipse, let's talk about this. New information came in, and as much as I didn't want to do this video, I think this is actually important. So there's an eclipse coming, if you haven't heard. And there's some wild theories out there about it. But I was listening to this retired brigadier general, his name's Blaine Holt, and very sober, very smart guy, talking about it. And it made me think about it a little bit differently, okay? I've seen all the stuff about the locust and the fault lines and the earthquakes and all the towns named Salem and Nineveh that it's going over and all the biblical type comparisons. I get it. It's wild. It's super interesting. But I don't want to go that path, okay? Not discounting any of that, because if you like conspiracies and you like interesting stuff, just look into it. Oh my God, it's endless. But the more these people are digging, the more crazy stuff they're finding. So I'm not discounting any of that. But, so this retired brigadier general was talking about what he's hearing in the intelligence community about the chatter and a likely scenario, okay? Or a possible scenario, let's say. There's something called a EMP attack. It's an electromagnetic pulse. It's something that people can do when they set off a certain type of a device, sends shock waves out, and it disables like telecommunications and can shut down grids and electricity and all that kind of fun stuff, okay? This is a real thing. Everyone's had this capability for many, many decades. This is nothing new. We are very vulnerable to it, okay? That's why there's so much also noise about the sun and a potential like CME as we come up on the solar maximum, because a direct shot is like Russian roulette, but a direct hit from a coronal mass ejection, if it's a strong enough X flare, it could do the same thing. It's called a Carrington event. It could knock out, it could have the same effect, okay? So knowing that, and then also, you know, Russia with their space nukes, can't forget about those guys. If they set one of those off over a country, it would cause the same thing. So, and then there's also things that people on the ground can do, different devices, and try not to say certain words that are gonna be in trouble, but certain devices they can do that would have the exact same impact, same thing. So there's multiple ways that this can happen. And we have a lot of new guests in our country. It's a party in America, right? So many people are pouring over the border, military-age men with various backgrounds and various intentions. So what does it have to do with the eclipse? Well, we're about to have millions and millions of people pour into these small towns from one side of the country to the other. There are going to be a lot of people in places they're not going to know the other people, right? Like normally when you go out in your town, you know who's who and stuff, so you would notice if somebody was out of place and stuff. There are a lot of people in new places. These towns aren't really equipped for huge, you know, influxes of people. And on top of that, we're getting all this weird guidance from officials, you know, and local officials get their guidance from up above. And all these local officials and local news stations and stuff are saying, hey, you know, the old school guidance for an eclipse would be like, don't stare at the sun, dummy, right? Now they're like, hey, make sure you have transmission fluid and oil and gas in your car. And it's like, what? Go ahead, make sure you have a plan with your family. What? You know, make sure you have all your medicines filled up in an AM, FM radio. Like, what? Like, what are y'all talking about? This is an eclipse. Like, this isn't a disaster. So the reason, this is what this brigadier general is talking about, the reason that they're treating it like a disaster is because if they have to respond, right, FEMA, if they have to respond, they want to have as little to do as possible, meaning they're going to have their hands full, right? What they're preparing for is a big deal. So they don't want to have they want to have as least amount of cars stalled on the side of the road, as least amount of people going into insulin shock, at least the amount of people running out of water and food, right? So that they can worry about the bigger things. So they're using the eclipse as a way to tell people, hey, just make sure you got your shit in order. You know, make sure you have enough water and stuff. Remember, you can go 3 weeks without food. You can only go 3 days without water. Especially if you have kids and pets, get lots of water, always. But anyways, they are telling people all this stuff. And they're using the solar eclipse as a excuse, you could say, as a guise to put out these emergency-esque bulletins to get people prepared. Because if they came out and said there's a potential attack or something like that, people would panic, okay? People aren't near as panicked about this, even though TikTok and some of the other places have done a doozy as far as research to find some
look at us
stuff to make it a pretty scary event, because it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be cool. You're supposed to go outside, put on your glasses, look at the sun. It's like really, really cool. I've seen several eclipses. It's awesome. And it's supposed to be a magical thing. It's not supposed to be a disaster. So the fact that they're treating it like a disaster, the fact that this, Brigadier General was coming out saying that the chatter he's hearing is that there is a very good potential with the, elections and all the stuff coming up, that there will be some sort of an asshole out there that does something big, to cause chaos. And I don't know who that asshole is and who he's aligned with. There's all sorts of different theories on that. But he's basically saying this is a high probability this could happen. Now, the reason that it could coincide with the eclipse is because you could do something like that around the time of this natural phenomenon, and then possibly it'd be chalked up to this natural phenomenon, right? Less people looking for you. It's like a diversion tactic, you know what I'm saying? So that is a actual concern, right, in the intelligence communities, that somebody could use this as an opportunity to do something. Now, that could be why these, local governments and stuff are telling people to do all these sort of over-the-top strange things. I mean, this is not historically relatable. Like in past eclipse, they didn't do the same stuff, okay? So this is new. This is new. They don't normally tell you to have escape plans and plenty of, make sure your fluids are topped off and that kind of stuff. That doesn't make any sense. So, and I understand, some of these small towns are going to have an influx of people, and they're telling people to stock up on food and water because the stores will probably be out. I get that part. But the lists go, I'm sure you've seen them. These preparation lists keep going and going and going. Flashlights and batteries and candles and stuff. It's like, what? What's that doing with anything, guys? So it's very obvious that they're taking this seriously. And I think that if they're taking it seriously, we should take it seriously too. This is not a doom and gloom thing. It's not a scare. It's a prepare. See what I'm saying? Like, just like you put your seatbelt on when you get in your car, not because you're a shitty driver, but because other people are shitty drivers. So knowing that there is potential for somebody out there to do something and to use this as an opportunity for it is enough reason for me I actually had a trip on the 11th, and I pushed it to the next week because I was like, I'm just going to hunker down. Like, people call it bug out. I call it bug in. I don't think you should bug out. I think you should attempt to bug in. I think you should build a fortress. You consider your house a castle. And, like, if anything ever happens, shit hits the fan, you stay home, Light some candles, put together a puzzle, have some family time. Make sure you have months worth of food and water and all the goodies and everything, Like, I live in Florida. We have a lot of disasters. So I have a whole room in my house that's basically just full of stuff, I could live, my whole family could live for months and months without having to bother anyone. Because if shit ever did hit the fan, the last thing you want to be doing is going to Walmart to try to get some freaking food or water with all the other crazies. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to stay home and just let crazy people do crazy stuff out there. See what I'm saying? So I think what the people in charge are doing right now is using this eclipse as a way to get people prepared for something. And they probably know something. According to this general, they do know something. The chatter with the intelligence communities are saying there's a high probability of something happening in the next short amount of time, and they think that it could coincide with this eclipse, which would explain all the weird guidance. So this is just, I'm throwing this out there just because, okay? I'm not saying get scared or prepare. I'm just saying I wouldn't think it's a bad idea. And if you don't have to travel that weekend, I wouldn't. And I'm not saying don't go see the eclipse, like the totality and everything. Like, it's really, really cool. But maybe don't cram into these small towns that are going to be full of tens of thousands of people. And I don't know. Something about that kind of weirds me out with all the stuff going on, okay? So, and this is not biblical or anything like that. Who knows? Locusts might come out of the earthquake fault line and the Antichrist might fall out of the sun. I don't know. I've heard it all. All of it's in the realm of possibility, I guess. I wouldn't put anything past anyone these days. But the most likely scenario is some group of assholes out there using this as an opportunity to do harm and damage and trying to use it as a guise, under the guise of the eclipse. That's what the people in charge are worried about. That's what this Brigadier General was talking about. And to me, that's the most likely situation. Of course, we hope nothing happens. Of course, just like anything, we hope nothing happens. But I would be prepared. I don't see any reason not to. So that's my 2 cents. Let me know, what are your 2 cents? Drop them below. Have a beautiful and safe day. Peace.
So that's kind of the contradicting thoughts from like, this is a religious or, this is scientific or.
Yeah, it's more of a realistic.
Yeah, more of a practical kind of like thinking. Which I saw something else, like there was ISIS attacked a church in Moscow. And so like that heightened, awareness of like, oh, big gatherings. What's going to be a big gathering? People going to watch the total eclipse.
Yeah.
So like that's what they're scared of is like, and they're saying that's why the National Guard's being there. Like they're being precautious. They're taking steps to try and mitigate or limit the I guess amount of casualties or something like along those lines, and that's why they're telling to prepare. But he also said something very interesting of how the eclipse itself could be almost like an EMP.
Yeah.
Which I saw in other videos. Like the sun right now is at the end of its 11-year cycle, so it's like just ready to burst, and that's why we're going to be getting these flares, and those are very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And it's almost amplified with the eclipse. So like the amount of radiation, sun radiation that's going to be hitting the Earth is going to be higher, and that's why they're saying these scientists are going to be on hand.
Yeah.
Is because we don't it might shut down our grid for an amount of time.
Yeah.
Like it's that powerful.
And I wonder like what that amount of time, like what's the range of the time that it could be shut down? Like is it
Well, they were saying like 3 days up to like weeks.
okay? And
Like that's why they're recommending to have up to 2 weeks worth of food and water.
yeah, and I mean, we know what can happen just with people being sent home during the pandemic. You know what I mean? People go crazy, and I can just imagine, dude, what would happen with just a few days of no electricity.
Yeah.
No access to information. Because, I mean, hardly anyone has, rabbit ears to where they can access TV normally. Everyone's, streaming information. So without that access, yeah, it would be pretty crazy. I can see, like what he said, somebody or some group using that as an opportunity to do something dumb because
it's like they're distracted with this. Perfect time.
Yep. No coverage.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about people filming me or anything like that. So yeah. I hope I don't give anyone ideas, but that would be the perfect scenario for a bad storm to happen.
Yeah. All right. Now this last video, you haven't seen it yet. I just put it in our doc today. So this one's crazy. This one. Now the girl talking, she's like a Gen Z, so she's all over the place. Like, and the video sped up. So
she's on the spectrum.
No,
Oh.
no. But the information she's talking about is very interesting. Now this has to deal. I touched on this a little bit. The movie Leave the World Behind.
Great movie.
Yeah, it was great. Scary, but it was a great movie.
Believable.
Yeah. So now, if you've watched the movie, you'll totally understand what she's saying. If you haven't watched the movie, spoiler alert. Stop watching now or whatever. I don't care.
It's been around for a while though.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Okay, so yeah, let's check this out. 1 second.
I wasn't even gonna make this video, but now I have to fucking make it. Look at that, okay? Y'all see that? Y'all see that right there? Let's go talk about it. So people have been begging me to make this fucking TikTok for a couple days now, and I think that day has come. Y'all know what happened, okay? And Leave the World Behind. And I told you, if you don't know what happened, go watch the fucking movie, right? Go watch the fucking movie. I'll do a quick synopsis, but go watch
Is this in real time?
Basically a movie about how
What?
the US government
Her talking?
on America.
No.
And
Oh, okay.
Sped up.
Okay.
Basically, nobody has any contact, all salaries are down, and you're basically living on your own against this viral air that's killing you, and this noise that's killing you, this poisonous noise, and air, and weird things that are happening, right? Okay, now let's really get into it, guys. Let's really get into it. Okay, so over the last 3 weeks, how many strange things have happened? Let's start with week 1. 2 weeks ago, on a Tuesday, what happened? Snapchat stopped working, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp.
That did happen, didn't it? Yeah, you're right.
Right? Everything, that was all those apps, major communication apps, major media communications app, no matter where you are in the world, the app's gonna work for communication. It stopped working for a couple hours, right? What's one app that didn't stop working, guys? Let me tell you. TikTok. TikTok was the only app that was working during that. Why is that? Because TikTok's not an American-owned app. Because TikTok's not an American-owned app. Guys, you literally just watched. Oh my god, no. This is bad. Guys, okay, so I'm gonna get back to that point. What happened 2 weeks ago? I don't know if you guys were hip. I don't know if y'all knew this. Verizon and Xfinity, they have like a joint deal together. Last Tuesday at somebody said between the hours of like 5 and 8 a.m., all service and everything was down for hours, right? I didn't experience that problem. Why is that? I was in Mexico. And my friend didn't experience that problem. Why was that? Because they were in London. This was only a problem in the United States. Okay? What happened on this Tuesday? The fucking boat lost power twice and steered into a bridge, a monumental bridge, destroying it. Open your fucking eyes, bruh. Everything that I just explained to you happened in the movie. And I'm talking even down to the fucking boat. People are like, Aaliyah, the boat has nothing to do with it. Yes, it does. I'm willing to bet you right now. There are many other boats that happened to in that same time. We only focus on this one boat, though, because this is the only boat that hit a monumental bridge. Right?
We need to look into that.
Probably just did that in the middle of the fucking ocean. And we don't know about it. Why? Because they reported that problem to the U.S. government. Of course, the U.S. government's not going to tell us to other boats. Because they caused it. I don't know how they caused it. I'm saying satellites. I'm really, I can get why you wouldn't, really believe the boat thing. I'm going to believe it because it's just too much in front of our face. It happened on Tuesday. Like, the other two things happened on Tuesday. In the same, the same things happening in the movie are happening in real life. Okay? Who produced the movie? That's really what's going over everybody's head. What nobody thinks about is who produced the fucking movie. Our ex-president. For 8 years, the top of the top has the most power in the government, the president of the United States of 8 years, produced a movie telling us that the United States government is going to overturn us, or whatever, use a better word, I'm picking overturn today. The United States government is going to overpower us and create its own cyber attack to reset the population. The Obamas made a movie like that. And then everything that's happening in the fucking movie is happening in real life. How are you not seeing this, bruh? How are the dots not connecting? And this is something that you saw me literally connect in this video, because I just thought about this in this video. Why is America trying to ban TikTok if TikTok is not become an American-owned company? Because TikTok is really the biggest app for getting communication around across the world, is it not? Is it not? Bruh.
This is an interesting point, because the bill to ban TikTok, in which was in the Senate, I believe, was the first time it had ever been expedited and passed with flying colors. So why were they pushing to ban it so quickly?
I mean, there's two sides to that. It could be because of this. It could also be because of the high tension and the possibilities that may happen.
True. Like, I can see both sides. Yeah. But it's very interesting that, because like everybody was saying, why are you singling out one app? And, it's like, it's the only social media app that's not American based.
Yeah.
And, whenever all those social media apps across the board went down that day, TikTok didn't.
I just wonder why they went down, though. What was the reason they gave that they went down?
I don't even remember. But it's like, if you want to stop people from communicating, take away social media.
Oh, yeah.
Because like that's the biggest source of, communication right now.
Yep.
Because like, I'm sure if you looked it up, like even more than calls and text messages, social media is like far and beyond the biggest, contact thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
If we have TikTok, we're still going to be able to talk to bruh. That's why they're pushing so hard for TikTok to be an American-owned company. So that when this happens, are you guys not seeing this? Are you not seeing it? I cannot be the only person connected to these apps. I can't be the only person who thinks this. Even if you think I'm wrong, even if you're like, oh, this isn't right, you shouldn't be promoting conspiracy theories, you can't tell me I'm crazy. You can't tell me that I don't have just a little bit of evidence against this. You can't tell me that. I won't believe you. Because I do. Because now it's really clicking. Because the United States government wants to own TikTok so they can control what we talk about. Yes, that's one reason. Or is it because they want to overturn us? Or is it because they know if they do something in the United States, every other country in the world is going to know they're doing it? Which one? And I'm not saying this is happening this year. I don't think it's happening this year. I think it's happening in 2 years. I think what they did was they did this now, the 3 weeks of like three things happening. They wanted to see who was paying attention and who would be affected by it and how the world would respond to it, how society in America would respond to these 3 things happening. Because why did it not happen in any other place? Why did service go out only in America? Why were only American-owned apps demolished? Or why were only American-owned apps out of service for a couple hours, but no other apps were in any other country? Are you seeing where I could get to this conclusion? Right. That's my TikTok. Thank you, Theater 160. If you know, they were the ones who really told me to make the TikTok. TikTok's made. Also, if this does not get a million likes, it's the U.S. government trying to stop me.
I like how you slipped that in. That's
Yeah.
good.
I'm not kidding. I mean, the ending there, that was a little bit of a stretch. The ending was a little bit of a stretch. I'm trying to get my bed. Everything else I'm saying is true. And that's fucking sliding computer.
That is, I mean, yeah, if you advocate for if you do connect the dots, that is, I didn't think of why TikTok would only be the only one still usable and why only American based. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it's kind of one of those, okay, it goes down right for a few hours, then it comes back. Communication's still going to happen over the gap of like, hey, what happened? Blah, blah, blah. Now, if, and Facebook and all those apps are notorious for, what do you call it? Censoring some stuff, allowing it to go through, not allowing things to go through. So if you do say something and has a key word about something, I wonder if it would have gone through the filter or if it would have just, hey, I didn't get that.
Right. Yeah. Now I don't know if she actually mentioned which president and what. Did she mention?
I think she did. I think she only said Obama.
Okay. So it was the Obamas who produced that movie, which is super interesting. Barack and Michelle Obama formed a production company. I want to say 2 years after he was done being president, and this was like, if I'm correct, I think is the first and only movie they produced.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. That is the only thing that's.
I think. Let me just double check that. I don't want to misquote.
Okay.
I guess it's gone up since then. So they've now produced 17 projects.
Okay.
But Leave the World Behind was their first, I want to say. But that movie, so many parallels. Like with we already talked about the bridge and the boat. Like there's a scene in the movie where they're on a beach and the kid's like, hey, that boat's coming towards us.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, they're going to stop. They're going to stop, right? And it just comes onto the beach and like people are running, going crazy.
Yeah.
There's a scene.
And it was not only that, it was the same type of ship.
Yeah, same exact type of ship.
Yep.
Like almost down to the color.
It wasn't a cruise ship. It wasn't
it was a cargo
yacht.
ship.
Yeah, it was.
It was like black and red. Like it's crazy.
Yep.
But there's also a scene with the total eclipse.
Yeah.
The scene that shows the total eclipse is from this perspective of the moon. And you see the eclipse and there's an American flag on the moon and darkness overcomes the American flag.
Yeah.
So it's like this symbolism is like there's darkness coming over America.
Over the United States. Yeah.
Which then the scene after that is when the kid loses all of his teeth.
Oh, that's right.
That's why they're saying this radiation. These scientists are going to be on hand because we don't know how much radiation is going to hit the earth and what that's going to do to people. Beyond that, there's a scene where hundreds of Teslas are autopiloting into themselves.
That's right.
And Tesla recalled like 22,000 Teslas like a month or two ago.
Why?
Like you see these parallels, right? And like it's almost too hard not to see.
Yeah.
Which all that eventually led into Civil War. What movie's coming out next Friday?
Civil War. Yeah.
And something I thought of last night, we talked about this a little bit earlier at lunch. The director, Alex Garland of Civil War, announced, I think this week or the week before, he's retiring from directing after that movie.
Yeah.
Why?
And I asked you why. Why after this movie?
Yeah.
He's not old.
Yeah, he's not
too old to.
Let me see how old he is. He's 53. I mean, that's not. Scorsese's a lot older than that. He's still
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood.
That's a bad. I mean,
he's a mummy directing movies.
Yeah, that's a bad example, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, what was Obama? Was this the only way he could try and warn us?
Without clearly saying the information,
he
has to give hints and put it in a movie. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, I just everybody go and like just like do your own research, like look it up. It's if nothing else, just for entertainment value. It's a fun like dive into, but you know, just I mean, take it for however you want to take it. Like honestly, I don't know how to feel about all of it.
And if you haven't seen the movie, please see the movie. It's
Oh
a good
yeah,
movie.
yeah, check it. It's on Netflix. Like it's a great fucking movie. But yeah, it's just so interesting. All these parallels that are coming up. You know, eclipse, NASA, CERN, like all this stuff is just like
Fallout.
all like culminating in. You know, I've heard with the election being this year that something big is going to happen.
Yeah, and another concern is that it's going to push off the election. So that means that Biden would be in office for longer than usual. But yeah, I've heard that too, that something is going to happen with the election. I don't know what. But yeah, the dots that person has, what was her name? Aaliyah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if she got the million.
Yeah, it's Aaliyah Tarjik if y'all want to check it out. Which again, I will be posting all these links in the description so you can check them out if you want to. If not, that's cool too.
But good for her for connecting those dots.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Yeah, I
didn't even think to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I want everybody to go watch Leave the World Behind, just that with all this in mind. But again, just for entertainment value. Like if you want to believe it, sure, like to each their own. How do you feel like after all this, like hearing all this, like are you wanting to like kind of hunker down, or like how do you feel?
I would. Well, yeah, I told you. Like I think on Monday, I think the plan is just to kind of chill at the house. I don't really want to go out now. Luckily, we're not in the path.
Yeah,
but at the same time, usually I know that in towns like the one that we live in, if there's like with the pandemic, like with if there's a possible snow apocalypse or whatever, people go to the stores and they wreak havoc.
Yeah,
and they I don't want to be around it. I feel uncomfortable being around that many people with their senses all heightened too. So yeah, definitely hunker down. I'm gonna try to go today at the latest tomorrow to get maybe a few things. But that's my plan. To just chill at the house, have the things that I need at least for a week, and then hopefully nothing happens.
Yeah,
and then Tuesday is back to normal. Or I mean, and the crazy thing is like it doesn't all have to happen on Monday.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying is like it might be a month, 2 months, 3 months later before we have this big earthquake or something happens. Now, if you're going along the lines of the guy that something might happen on April 8th, like that's a fear of that. So yeah, there is that fear.
Yeah,
but like a lot of people are saying, like it's not everything's going to like this is the solar eclipse is kind of like the initial step, like the first step of what's to come.
Yeah, I would say on April 8th, the things that I would be concerned with are, those assholes or that group of, people that might do some damage, might do something really bad. That's one strong possibility. The other one is if it is worst case scenario where there is radiation and something bad, medically happens to people, whether they see the I guess the outcomes of whatever happens with the radiation that same day, or if it's 20 years down the road, I don't know. That would be the worst case scenario. Yeah, I think those would be the worst things. And then after that, it's just going to be all the natural things that happen as a result, if anything does happen.
Yeah, I saw some video of it was on TikTok. It's have you seen those videos of like, oh, I'm a time traveler? I know.
Yeah.
So I saw one last night as I was like going down this rabbit hole. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I was like kind of falling asleep. It was like, I'm a time traveler. On April 6th is going to be the first ever F6 tornado in Oklahoma.
I saw that. Yeah,
right?
I did see that one. Yeah.
Which, I mean, outside is we're pretty close to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's windy as shit right now.
Yeah, it sounds like a tornado outside right now. But bringing it back to Bill Gates, like it's so weird, dude. You remember? I want to say it happened. Yeah, it happened a couple of years after the whole pandemic thing. But he came out and he publicly said something about disease X. Remember that? Basically, a second type of virus that's going to be. He said that like there's going to be another one. Almost like, I don't know if he's like behind. Oh yeah, I'm going to help. What's that? Gain of function research or whatever.
Yeah.
To produce one, but I think that he maybe is just the way he's saying it that we need to just prepare that for something else that might come similar to what we just experienced.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy that he's the one saying that stuff. He's the one buying all this farmland. It's all safe where he's buying that farmland. And it's also crazy that just why buy farmland if you're Bill Gates?
Yeah.
And I want to know, like, look up when he started buying farmland, if we can find it. Like, when did he first purchase farmland? What year? Because I feel like it's been somewhat
Starting in
clustered.
2013, Gates began investing his billions through the firm Cascade Investment in agriculture because of its steady increase in value and low volatility.
Yeah.
So they say.
Yeah. And I don't want to connect dots that aren't there, but that is still, I mean, when you look in terms of investing in that much property, that's like somebody getting a tip. Like, hey, you need to get into real estate right now and start buying up houses. And then it's just a course of 10 years, a little over 10 years that I do that in. You're like, oh, wow. Like, why did you do it when you did it?
Yeah.
And I could just say, well, I got a tip and I thought it would be a good investment. But in reality, maybe his tip is from somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just weird that people like that, with that, I mean, the income level that he has, and I'm sure he has high influence too with some people, with some groups. Why he would do that, and why it's so convenient that those farmlands are where they're at.
Oh yeah.
Why are they there?
Just happen to be when you look at that doomsday map, it's like just happens to be like coastline.
It's so crazy, man.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm not taking any of this as 100% fact. There are things I want to believe in, things I, for some reason, just can't believe in. But it's like I said, this is just for entertainment value.
Yeah.
It's an interesting talk, But it's an interesting talk that could lend itself into helping you prepare for something, And I think it's always good to be prepared.
Yeah.
Just like it's kind of like having insurance.
Yeah.
You pay it every month. Like you might not use it for 12 months, but then 1 month you get in a car wreck and you break your leg, it's there to help you.
Exactly.
So like I look at it kind of like that. It's like I take it with a huge grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because we've lived through Y2K, we've lived through like the end of the world apparently, but yeah. So I mean, like we said, take it with a grain of salt.
What if Y2K happened? And we're just
we all died.
We all died. We're in a simulation.
We're going back to
But yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying to prep like a doomsday prepper, like have tons of food and tons of water. But I do think you should at the very least have a plan.
Yeah,
like where are you gonna go? Do your kids or do your family members know what to do? Without receiving a phone call, like if shit does hit the fan, you know where to go. Do you know what to do? Can you find your way home? All those little things, like we talked about stuff. Where to meet if we are out and about to at least get back together and formulate a plan there. But yeah, you need to have some idea of what to do. if shit does hit the fan.
Yeah.
Are you going to get a radiation suit? Are you going to go outside?
I work from home. And during the week I hardly go outside.
Why do they want you to wear the glasses? What if you can look? What if?
Why don't you try it?
Like,
It's like, well, now Joe is blind.
But then you get vision like Neo, and you can see the Matrix at that point. You can see all the numbers and everything.
Yeah, you see the simulation.
Yeah, holy shit, man.
Oh man, yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, we're only a day away.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a day away.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I'm kind of excited for it.
I'm excited just to see what people do. It's always fun to observe and see what people do. I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. But it is funny seeing people like, because I always laugh, like if we go to Walmart or a store right before a possible, like we get a forecast like, oh yeah, there's going to be 10 inches of snow and there ain't shit.
Yeah.
Or maybe an inch or whatever. But people think they're going to be in the house for like months, and people just go fucking ape shit at the store and they just buy everything. And I'm like, God, why are y'all doing that? Like all that food's going to be wasted. You're getting too much stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get non-perishable stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like canned stuff. Like if you're buying fresh food, it's just going to go bad in
McDonald's.
a few days.
Get McDonald's.
Yeah. That'll stay good forever.
Forever.
Twinkies.
Yep. What movie was I seeing? Oh yeah, Mortal Engines. Yeah, they had Twinkies on there, and it was they called it the Ancients, and the food wasn't bad. So it was like thousands of years old. It was still good. Yeah, man. Well, we'll see. I kind of hope that nothing bad happens because we start a little golf league tournament this next Saturday, and I want to be able to enjoy that. But again, I'm not, like I said in the beginning, I'm 99% sure that nothing weird or crazy is going to happen. Now, if something does happen as a result of what did that guy say, the gravity and the magnetism over the next couple of months,
that's another point I forgot to mention is like there are videos going around saying how can the moon be covering the sun when the moon is in Pisces right now, which means like it's kind of beside the Earth. Mm-hmm. It would have to be in Aries to be in direct path of the sun and the Earth. So like, how is this?
Did they explain that? Or?
And they're saying it's Planet X. Like our binary system is another planet is entering our binary system. It's actually already here, and that's what's causing like these gravitational pulls and earthquakes and everything.
So they're saying it's not the moon.
That's what they're saying. The theory is. Yeah. But there's also that Devil's Comet, which is super interesting. It's like comet with horns.
Yeah.
That's causing like gravitational pull and everything. So I mean, I'm not smart enough to know the science behind
the Buffalo Bills logo. That's what it looks like. Yeah, we'll just see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like we said, these are not complete facts. This was for pure entertainment value, a deep dive into conspiracy theories. And then we tried to give you some conflicting arguments on it as well. But do your own research. Prepare if you want to. Have water on hand. But yeah, be kind to yourself. Be kind to your neighbor, and We'll see if it's the end of the world.
Yeah. So salud, guys. Cheers.
If you see this, I mean, by the time you see this, it'll be almost time for the total eclipse. So we'll see.
Yep. This could be the last program on social media.
True.
Yep. All right.
Well, cheers to the world and the life we've lived.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next Friday, hopefully.
Cheers.